Hello and welcome. It's Diane. Really glad to see you again. This is Takeheart, and this is season 2 and session 1. Okay, so we're back with a bang, and it's very chilly outside here in Australia. But welcome. So I thought today we would do a snowy scene. Now all the colours I will run at the bottom of this clip, but I will tell you beforehand what we're going to be using. So we'll be using Prussian blue, titanium white, midnight black, dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, and a liquid clear. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start off with the liquid clear, and I'm just putting a little bit out on my board, and we're going to start by giving the canvas. I said this is a canvas which is 40 by 50 centimeters, and it's already primed, so it's covered in, starting with the titanium white. Now what I'm going to do first, as I said, is to use some liquid clear. All right, so we need to cover the whole of the canvas in liquid clear. Now the idea of this is to give the canvas plenty of slip, because we want to be able to move the paint around, and we don't want it drying too quickly. So load your brush up. This is a 2-inch brush, and mainly we'll be sticking with the 2-inch brush. We will be using a palette knife as well. So it's going to be pretty simple. There is not a lot of changing brushes, and we're covering the whole of the canvas. So we want it nice and slicky. Plenty on there. Okay? Especially towards the edges. Don't forget your edges. There we go. And I have been busy painting, and I have been doing other things, and I have them all on my website, which I will put a link to at the bottom of this clip today. So what we're going to start off with is a bit of Van Dyke brown. So just a little bit of Van Dyke brown, and we will have a bit of what we got going there. I think we'll go for the I think it's between yellow ochre and the dark sienna. I think we'll go for a bit of dark sienna, and then we'll add a little of the yellow ochre as well. So we don't want this first stroke on the canvas to be too dark. So that's your yellow ochre as well. And we're just going to blend them in. Now we don't need to do anything with the actual paintbrush itself. We want as much slip as we can, but I don't want it to be too dark. Now, if yours is too dark, then just start adding a little bit of your titanium white, and I'm going to add a little bit because mine is a bit too dark. And I just want it to stand out, because this little area that we're doing now will be the light source. Okay, so you've got a nice, plenty on your paintbrush, and away we go. So we start in the middle here, and all you're doing is crisscrossing over. You can see that. And just keep going with your crisscrosses. And we're going to take it right up to the top of the canvas. And we want this to look like an autumn scene, so we want autumn type of colours, okay? So we're going maybe to more or less halfway down the canvas. And just keep crisscrossing. Now towards the edges, we want it to look a bit darker. So we're going to take a bit more of our Van Dyke brown and blend in, and need that a little bit darker, and your dark sienna. So we want a contrast. It's always good to have a contrast. And I'm getting that. Now if you feel, if it's not dark enough, you can always add a bit of black. So I'm going over to this side here now. So we're getting towards the corners. So fill in those corners. And again, crisscross strokes, right, all the way around. We're not going into our nice light source now, because we want to keep it light. Okay. All right. A little bit more on this side. And again, just keep it darker towards the edges and really push your brush into the canvas, right? And keep going a little bit further down and round until you get to the other side. And I just want that centre to be a bit lighter. So to do that, we'll add a bit of black. We're going to add a bit of black to your mix of Van Dyke brown and your dark sienna. So keep going with that, just a little bit of black, not a lot. And I need a bit more Van Dyke brown after that. Okay. Now it's getting a bit darker. And it is just adding colours as you go along, and you'll get the feel for what feels right. Now that to me is a lot darker, so I'll show you that. That's more or less what we're looking for. Okay, and then we go to, again, the corners. Now, as you're crisscrossing across, again, as you can see, we're getting all sorts of shapes and colours and different variants in the paint itself. If you feel you need to loosen your paint up, you can add a little of the liquid clear. And again, I'm just making it a little bit darker in these corners here. And then all you need to do to kind of blend all this in, just gently, very gently, over you go. So be brave. This is your bravery check. Test, bravery test. And all you're wanting to do is to get brave with your brush strokes. So don't get too scared about putting your first brush stroke onto your canvas. Now next we want to have more Van Dyke brown, and with this we're going to again just repeat the colours. but we don't want it too dark. So that's the yellow ochre. And I want to blend these two in. But I don't want them to be too dark. These are shadows, and there'll be shadows of trees in the background. I don't want them to be too light either. And again, you're going to have a nice edged shape to your brush. So put plenty of paint on to get that nice chiseled shape. And then what we're going to do is just very gently just tap in some trees. So it's just a indication of a tree. That's all it is. All you're doing. Okay. And you might have, remember this is your painting, and you can put your trees however you like. They're not all going to be the same. Some are going to bend over. Some are going to go off at angles. Okay? So these are just shadows, and that's all we want. Shadows of trees in the distance. And again, there, and again, another one coming down here. You see that? It's very nice because it's not drying too quickly, because you have made it wet with your liquid clear, which is a good benefit. It's a bonus. So I'm going to use more Van Dyke Brown and a bit more dark sienna. And a little bit more. We'll add a bit of crimson red. Not crimson red, alizarin. Alizarin red. There's a little bit of difference between those two. Okay, and then we're mixing these together. Now I want this to be darker because the colours now should be dark as you're coming forward and closer. So, are you with me? Are you sticking with it? Keep going, you're doing well. So the trees that we're going to now put in a minute, firstly, what we need to do is make a decision as to where your tree is going to be. So we could have a tree just here. Now, as I say, this is a real bravery test. Be brave, be bold, and again, maybe another one coming down here. Okay, and another one down here. Maybe just here. All right, you see how that pushes that back? And another one. Just coming down. It's a bit bigger, this one's just a little bit bigger. Continue to mix your colours, and I'm just putting a little bit of white in now because I want to put a bit of grassiness. So all you're doing is just pushing onto the canvas. Push around the tree, release its roots. Keep pushing around, and push your brush into the canvas. Keep going with that. Okay, and just keep, so you're bending the brush onto the canvas, bending it. We're going to take that around here because we want it just to look like a little bit of grass at the back, or at least a few little sticks and shrubbery, you could call it. Okay, so now you've got your tree, but you need to just make that tree stand out a bit. But let's just get the shapes in first. And what we'll do is, again, you're pushing into the canvas and we're coming down. We're going to come down again, but you're pushing into the canvas and into the canvas. So you're filling in this area here, and you're giving the eye some direction now. And just keep layering it. Keep going and keep layering. And keep pressing into the canvas to give the canvas plenty of structure, but plenty of interest. Okay. Now your trees, we need to make them stand out a bit. So we're going to use the Van Dyke brown and a bit of black instead, with light black, a little bit on the side there. Blend that in. And what you're wanting to achieve here is just to get some, again, we're trying to get a nice chiseled edge. So we're now going to put some leaves on our trees. So again, we just press into the canvas, and again, it's nothing really defined at this point, but we're bringing our trees. Just want to see, you know, there's some trees that look very different. Some trees look very unique. So we need a little bit more black and brown. And again, we want our leaves to stand out. So these are the branches coming out. And pressing on like so just pushes out the bristles. So again, you can get some kind of leaf looking branch. It's very effective. Okay. And again on this one to see some nice bristles and trees. And we're going to have, again, I'm just going to have a darker one here. So again, this is your tree, because we like trees. And we're going to have one right over here. So you really want this now to be a tree that's coming down and going right up to the top of the canvas, and then another one coming down, going right down to your canvas. And again, you can just put in little bits just here and there. That's all you need, just here and there. And then of course we need what we've just done again, is we need the leaves to stand out on the trees. Very gently just tapping, as you can see there, tap away and press quite hard onto the canvas. But you do need plenty of paint. Press hard. You need it to, and I'm just going over again the leaves and the branches. Okay, so now we need to have a look at is you need to use your titanium white, and we're going to now add the bit that we like, well, the snowy scene. So you're adding white. This is titanium white. Now put plenty on your brush, load your brush up, okay, and we're going to fill in the spaces here. And drag your brush, doesn't matter if it picks up some of the colour, but drag your brush into those spaces. We want this to look as though there's shadows as well, because we need shadows from the trees. Okay, and again, just keep going with that. Keep going in between those spaces. Fill those spaces out, because this is the snowy scene now. This is the scene, but it doesn't matter if it picks up some of the colour. We want it to, in actual fact. And just keep going off and bringing down the paint and blending it in. Okay, so there's a little bit of your snow. And now I just want the tree trunk to stand out. So, and we want to put some, maybe some little sticks. So let's have a go. This is the fun bit. So you've got your basic structure, and now I'm just going to put in some evidence of a tree trunk coming down there. See, all you're doing is using your palette knife, drag it towards yourself. Okay, so across and over. Again, the same here. You want this to stand out. Doesn't have to necessarily go all the way down. You can have breaks, because often that's what you see in real life, is breaks, like so. And these structures at the back, what you don't want them to disappear, but you do want these other trees here to stand out and push them back. And as you're bringing your tree to life, And as you're adding more colours, and just scraping your palette knife on and just filling your palette knife as much as you can. And again, bring it down towards you, indicating the trees in the background there. Now we have another fella here, so I did want to put an indication that there is somebody there. And if we're really clever, we might be able to put in a little hut, who knows. Okay, keep mixing and blending those colours. You've got plenty on your board, just keep mixing them. That's the easy thing about this painting, is that you can keep blending. And you'll find that your picture just takes has life of its own, and it starts growing. It starts growing, which is quite a strange thing, but it does. And wanted to just add a little bit more, because we need those leaves to stand out on the branches. Again, we'll come over and you're just tapping, that's all you're doing. Tapping onto the canvas with the corner of your 2-inch brush. And again, keep going. And we want this guy to look as though he's coming out here. He's got a nice branch here. And we have some indication of a tree. And again, we want this guy here to be able to have his branches and leaves. And as I say, tapping, it just has like a creation of its own, as you are creating as you're talking, as you're tapping away there. And just one more thing, if I can, I'm going to have a go for you and show you that we could put a little hut here. So we'd have the roof here, and then we would have a little bit of a section here. So what we could call maybe somebody lives here. Who knows? Maybe somebody lives here. You never know, do you? And kind of making this into a hut, but it doesn't matter about the lines at the moment. Just keep going with that and drag your palette knife down. And with your palette knife, you can also put in, say we're going to have a little door there. Yeah, just scrape away the paint, and you have given your hut a door. And you may, again, we want something to be around here, and say we could even bring the tree a bit closer to the hut, taking its own life, but the hut itself is hidden a little bit in the distance. Okay, and then the hut might have a little bit of a pathway, but you know, a bit of a shadow, maybe a shadow, let's say. So we're just dragging your palette knife down, drag him down, drag him across. Okay, you can make this however you want to. And like I say, the trick here is just to be able to scrape away at the black that you have put on there, or black and red and your crimson. And then you can make little shapes, or even, you know, maybe a little chimney stack. You never know. You might have a chimney stack. There might be somebody in there. And you're just developing your ideas and your imagination. Okay? You can have lots of sticks in the background, which would be way back here. So you're using your palette knife again. Sticks. I'm sure there's plenty of sticks everywhere. Everywhere, kind of in a wooded glade, you definitely find a lot of just, well, what do people call them? I don't know, maybe call them doers? Is that an American term? I don't know. It's just fun. That's all I want you to have, is have fun. Now, I've completed this more or less in 30 minutes, but I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate you, and I hope this helps you to build your confidence to be able to realize that there is joy in painting. Thank you, and bye-bye.